Assalamualaikum everyone, I am Fardin Rahman Akash. Here is our project and our project name is Security a Network System with Public Key Infrastructure. Implementation of Transport Layer Security TLS on HTTP for HTTP connection. Here is our group members and we are in group 4 submitted to Dr. Hasanul Ferdaus, Assistant Professor Department of Computer Science and Engineering, submitted by Tahmid Zoyaed, me Fardin Rahman Akash, MD Jakir Hossain with Sayma Arshe and Maslinia Sujnus myself. Introduction. TLS certificate acquisition obtained a digital certificate from the Trusted Certificate Authority (CA). The certificate contains the public key required for encryption. Server configuration. Configure the web server to the support TLS. Install the acquired certificate on the server. Enable TLS protocols and the cipher suite. TLS handshake protocol. During the handshake, the client and the server negotiate TLS parameters, authenticate on each other's identities, establish a secure connection. Encryption and decryption. After the handshake, data transfer occurs. TLS employs the symmetric encryption algorithm. Data is encrypted using a shared session key. Certificate validation and forward secrecy. The client validates the authenticity of the server certificate, check the explanation and the recognition status and the certificate chains of trust. TLS support forward secrecy by using the ephemeral session key. Certificate creation. Changing directory to the root folder to the supervisor access. The command sudo I allows to switch to the root user, granting the supervisor access to performing the privileged operation. Making directories. The mkdirp the command is used to create the multiple directories to the hierarchical structure. Changing the root of CA and the sub-CA private folder. The cmod of the B700 command that modifies the permission of the specified directories to read, write, and execute for the owner and no access for the group of others. Creating index file. The touch command is used to create a empty file. The index file beginning to create a CA root index, CA sub-CA index. Generating the hexadecimal random number of set 16 characters. The OpenSSL rand hexa 16 command generates a random 16 character hexadecimal number. This random number is being generated and stored in the files is CA root, CA serial, CA sub CA serial. Generating a private key for a root CA and sub CA and server. The OpenSSL generator command generates a private key using the RSA algorithm. The private keys being generated are the root CA private CA key with the AES 256 encryption and the key size is 4096 bit. The sub-CA private in sub-CA keys with the AES 256 encryption and the key size is 4096 bit. The server private server key with the key size is a 20448 bits. Next part will describe my group mate Maslinia Sujnus myself.
Myself Maslinia Sujnus. Today I like to talk about an essential aspect of securing network system certificate generation in public key infrastructure in an interconnected world where data privacy and secure communication, changing directory to root folder with super user access, making directories, changing the root of CA and sub-CA private folder, create index file, generate hexadecimal number, writing serial number of root CA and sub-CA, generate private key for root CA, sub-CA, and server certificate generation lies at the core of PKI as it is enable to authentication of entities and ensure secure communication. Public key infrastructure is a system of digital certificate authorities, CA, and other components that work together to establish trust and enable secure communication over network. A PKI system compromise several key components. First, we have the certificate authorities or CA, which is trusted entity responsible for issuing, managing, and revoking certificate. The CA server as the root of trust in the PKI ecosystem. Then we have certificate themselves, the digital documents that contains an entity, public key, information, and a digital signature from the issuing CA. These certificates are essential for verifying the authenticity of entities in a network system. The first step to generate the root CA certificate that involves generating a private key for the root CA using encryption algorithm. This certificate acts as the foundation of trust within the PKI system. In some cases, a PKI structure may be employed with a subordinate CA operating under the root CA. If applicable, the subordinate CA certificate is generated. The private key is then used to create a self-signed certificate for the root CA. This involves generating a private key for the subordinate CA, creating a certificate signing request that includes relevant identity information, and having the root CA sign the CSR to produce the CA certificate. Lastly, we generate Lastly, we generate the server certificate. This involves generating private key for the server or network system, creating a CSR that includes identity information for the server, and having the sub CA sign the CSR to produce a server certificate. Installing and configuring the certificates correctly is crucial for ensuring a secure network system. The root CA certificate must be installed on trusted devices to establish the trust chain, while the server certificate is configured on the intent server to enable secure communication. Thank you. The rest of the presentation will be discussed by another member.
Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Sayma Akash, and today we will discuss about the server's creation and saving certificate. At first, we need to map the host name to IP address. This process is very important to access our website by a certain host name. It ensures when we enter our host name like www.talalakba.com, our device generates an IP address to establish the network connection. And now we will create the server. For this, we will use XAMPP. At first, we see the port numbers which are used in different IP addresses. Now we will go to the command prompt, open a new terminal, copy the updated certificate to CS certificate folder and keep it in the new directory. Modify the file location and then here some pop-up will came for replacing the lines and for replace some lines. After replacing these lines and modify index.php file, we will run it to the XAMPP and import the certificates on browser. And here we go with our www.talalakba.com with welcome to my website. And here is the Linux version of our website. And now we will talk about the DNS server of this project. The DNS server is a static IP. It is used in both clients and hostname, and it sets the virtual network from host PC to the client, and it checks the machine status also. The next part of the DNS server will discussed by Tahmid Zoyaed. That's all for me. Thank you.
To talk about the domain name system, which is DNS server. So for this we have to set the static IP for both client and host PC. Then we have to setting virtual network from host PC, then install the bind, checking the machine status. We can see a screenshot of checking the machine status. Then we have to edit the following host files. The first one is editing the named conf file options files. Then we can see the edited version. Then we have to edit the conf local file. Then we have to check the config file and create an editing db.talalakba.com file. Then we have to create and edit the db file again. Now we have to restart the bind and checking the status. Then we have to delete and linking resolve conf file. At last we have to set the host PC, then checking the forward lookup, and after that we have to check the reverse lookup. Thank you.
Thank you, Tahmid Zoyaed. Now I am going to explain the rest part of domain naming system or DNS server. The DNS server from any host or client to PC. Checking forward lookup, the command ans lookup which is Tala Lagbe, performs a forward lookup, translating domain the name www.talalagbe.com. The domain name, the second one is checking reverse look of DNS. The command nslook 192.168 56199 perform a reverse lookup, translating the an IP address 192.168.569.199 to its corresponding domain name. Next part is the firewall installation and configuration. The command sudo apt install wf uw ufw install the in uncompliant firewall ufw on the system. The substance command configure the firewall to allow outgoing connection by default, any incoming connection of default difficult. Enable the firewall and allow specific port 18.443 53 for HTTPS and DNS traffic. Next one, checking firewall status. The command UFW status display the status of UFW firewall, showing which port are allowing block or next part is IDS setup and snort. The command sudo apt get install sudo snort install snort and open source IDS on the host PC. Configuration the step involving specify the network interface ENPO S3 and IP range 192.168.56.199.24 in the snort configuration file snort.conf. The configuration file copied and edit to set network visible variable homenet and host PC IP. A local rules file is created and configured with simple rule and deleting a DOS attack. The snort configuration and testing test using command sudo t enpos3c etc. The final snort is run with specified configuration using the commands. Testing an IDS DOS simulate on the client PC command sudo apt install hypering and 3 install hyping tool. The host PC is attacked using hopping 3 with specified parameter IP packet size float mode and simulate DOS attack. The snort IDs on the host PC and detect the display warning of for DOS attack. Next, we show the Wireshark to packet ongoing in our site, also showing how packet source and destination. In the conclusion, implementing TLS on HTTP for establishing source HTTP connection is essential for safeguarding sensitive data transmit over internet. By following the step mentioning above the saying, with the security practice, organization ensure secure and encrypted communication channel, protecting and user server and maintaining data integrity. Thank you, everyone. Now we are demonstrate our project in next.